What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So, yes, apparently today is the final day for a lot of these, not high school, but college guys. The final day they can declare for the 2023 NFL draft. And a lot of pretty high quality and high known guys have been waiting till today, including a wide receiver from USC. But he has finally made his decision. He did have at least 1 year to come back, but he is going to the NFL. The guy who was injured this year, Jordan Addison. Obviously, one of the great pickups by Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams. People say, Lincoln Riley kind of cheated and got into his DMs or whatever before he entered the transfer portal officially. But I think it was more of Caleb doing all that business instead of Lincoln Riley, technically. But either way, USC got him, and he was great before he got hurt. And then even after, he was still pretty good in that UCLA game. Sadly, did not play this last game against Tulane, but either way, still a great 1 year with the Trojans. Had like 29 total touchdowns if you include his career at Pittsburgh as well, where he won that top wide receiver overall in college his sophomore year. But yes, definitely going to be rooting for this guy in the NFL. I'm pretty sure it's why he wanted to go quickly, because he was injured and did not want to suffer another injury, and that hurts his draft stock the following draft. So he is still most likely a first-round pick, definitely a second-round pick either way, but definitely going to be following him and his career coming up soon. So good luck to Mr. Jordan Addison. Then Justin Dedich, one of the more prolific and consistent guys on the offensive line for USC. He definitely had an option to leave. That's why I think he waited, I think it was still last night, Sunday night, to officially say anything on Twitter. But yes, he did say that he is officially coming back for his final year at USC to help lead the offensive line, because he did play a lot of guard and stuff, even though he played center in high school. But now he will be going back to that position and leading the offense, and definitely is going to help his draft stock because he's played multiple positions. He's played left guard, right guard, and now will play center officially, because he did play it in that Tulane game and did a good enough job there as well. And even when he was coming out of high school, he was one of my top guys that I liked, a 4-star player from out here in SoCal. So definitely happy he's been getting his opportunity to play. But yes, he will be leading this team, and he's definitely one of the top, captains and leaders of this Trojan team. So definitely very excited about this. And then the women's basketball played yesterday on Sunday and had a very big time upset against the number 2 team in Stanford, who I pretty much know them because they've always been in the Final Four or even winning championships as of late for the women's side. And it's a big time upset because USC already has the number 1 women's player from high school coming in next season. So this is great momentum for that side of the program, and hopefully they can continue it. But yes, a big time upset victory for them. I think it's the first time they've even had that big of an upset since like 2008. So a lot of positive things happening for this USC program in total. And when it comes to Mekhi Blackman, one of the top cornerbacks that's leaving USC for the NFL draft, I know he was invited, and I don't know if he accepted that invitation to that East-West Shrine game, which is usually not as high elevated or mostly watched compared to that Reese's Senior Bowl. But he was obviously recently, due to that post, he was invited to the Reese's Senior Bowl, and he's most likely going to play there and get more attention and eyes on him as well. So I don't know if he's going to be playing in both games, but at least he's going to be playing in the more prolific games. So definitely looking forward to that, hopefully helping out his draft stock, because it usually helps out when you go to that little Senior Bowl that they have. Then when it comes to the men's basketball, yes, they ended up playing against Utah. I believe it was Saturday. Ended up getting that victory, 71-56. Nice victory. They were able to get away towards the end. Boogie Ellis led with 17 points. Trey White had 13 points. Drew Peterson and Reese Dixon-Waters both threw in 11 points as well. So a nice victory overall. Another Pac-12 victory. Just hoping to add a couple more of these heading into more Pac-12 play coming up. Then an ex-USC basketball player, Onyeka Okongwu, who's with the Atlanta Falcons. I think we talked about, I think it was like he reached 1,000 career rebounds a couple months ago or maybe a month ago. and now he's reached 1,000 career points scored in the NBA right now. So that's pretty cool. He's at least growing his career numbers out there in Atlanta, which is always kind of surprised. They had a little bit, couple guys ahead of him that they were playing more, but looks like he's getting more playing time because his stats keep moving up as well. So definitely very excited about that. Then when it comes to Nikola Vucevic, an ex-USC player, he recently had a big-time game for the Chicago Bulls in a victory. Ended up getting 43 points, which also tied his career high while he was with Orlando, which surprisingly he also scored that career high points against Chicago, who he now plays for, which is crazy. But yes, he did also throw in 13 rebounds, 4 steals, and 5 3-pointers made. So that's obviously big-time stats for a guy who plays your power forward center position. Obviously, that's why I would prefer to have this guy on the Lakers, and I've made mock trades for him as well, because he does have sometimes these games where he blows up like this, and other than that, he's still pretty consistent, giving you 15-plus points, 10-plus rebounds consistently as well, and he can pass the ball for a big guy. So definitely very happy that he's doing this. I don't think it's going to push him into the All-Star game, but overall, to get good stats like this and you're from USC, definitely got to talk about it. When it comes to Jayson Tatum, yes, just actually today on Monday, because they're playing a lot of early games because it's Martin Luther King Day, and the NBA does that a lot. But he ended up going off against Charlotte. He had 51 points in that game, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 7 3-pointers made, and it was a victory as well. So congrats to him. Obviously, like I always say, it sucks that he's part of the Celtics, but I think he even has the most 50-point games as a Celtics member. So now he's beaten another category of their historic stats that Larry Bird has. So once again, another Duke player on top of the list. So I'm definitely very happy about that. So congrats to him. Then LeBron James, I think it was last night against Philadelphia, passed 38,000 total career points. It did sadly come at a loss, but I'll get into that. But yeah, he's only the second player in NBA history to have over 38,000. Obviously, still quite a bit ways behind Kareem, another ex-great Laker. But I think he's about 300 some odd points away, so could take him this whole year at some point. But I hope it's as the Lakers are getting into the playoffs and not just him trying to get as many points as he could before the season ends and all that crap, and they're not even in playoff, contention. So let's hope for the best. And speaking of that loss yesterday and the double overtime loss against the Mavs on Thursday night, apparently the NBA does this final 2-minute report for the referees and all this stuff to show if there were any bad calls or anything like that that could have changed the outcome of the game. And of course, there was a time when I think it was after going into the end of the first overtime against the Mavs, where LeBron was going for a layup and he apparently had gotten hit on the hand or the arm by Christian Wood. So that should have been a penalty or a foul and at least 2 free throws when the game was tied at that point, and the Lakers could have won by 1 or 2 points. That was one big thing. And then even yesterday, there was a point, I think Russell Westbrook, he made a horrible decision, and I'm surprised he even got a shot up because he was just losing the ball and everything, and the ball didn't even go to LeBron's hands in the final 10 seconds. But yes, he fumbled it away, and then 76ers won. But apparently on that fumble or trying to shoot the shot, Joel Embiid supposedly fouled him as well. So there should have been at least some attempts at points. But either way, that's how it goes for the Lakers and the NBA, kind of controlling their own narrative as usual, I guess. So usually people say it's in favor of the Lakers, but obviously you can tell there, after 2 big-time losses, it's not in favor of the Lakers. So there you go. Then Kyle Filipowski, the freshman at Duke, recently earned his 5th Rookie of the Week honors. I'm pretty sure it wasn't consecutive because I think he missed out on a week or 2. But yes, congrats to him. Definitely a big-time, not opportunity, an accomplishment to get at least the 5th time. He did average 23 points and 14 rebounds, something like that. Over 2 games, they were 1-1. The win against Pittsburgh and the loss against Clemson that obviously I'm not talking about because they lost. But yeah, congrats to him, I guess. And then, yes, what you're all waiting for. Waited to have this because it's most I'm going to talk about when it comes to the Chargers losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars this last Saturday night in Jacksonville in Duval County, as they kept mentioning over and over. Yes, the Chargers had a 27-0 lead. At one point, they forced 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions alone by Asante Samuel Jr. So that looked like once again another great pick. And they were scoring. There were a couple times where they had to settle for field goals, but in the end, when it was halftime, it was still 27-7. The Chargers leading. They ended up getting the lead up to 30-7 at one point, and even going into that halftime with that score, because it was different that they gave up 7, because there was a bonehead play by Joey Bosa. He either got a personal foul or the time he was offsides, there was something wrong with him. He got so many questionable calls at very specific times that hurt, because it kept drives alive, or it gave them the opportunity to score even a touchdown compared to just 3 points. So yeah, Bosa didn't have that great of a game, and it definitely cost them in certain moments, because that would have only been it would have been 27-3 at halftime instead of 27-7, which, who knows, doesn't make a difference. But the Chargers did end up missing another kick at one point. That kick looked like it was going down the middle, and then all of a sudden it just veers to the left or right, whatever it was. So it's kind of weird. But yeah, overall, if they just had that, then Jacksonville has to go try to score a touchdown instead of just getting the kick. But that's just how it goes for the Chargers. Get some other things. Yeah, even with Bosa, he was doing something, he slammed his helmet as he was going to the sideline, so he was already out of bounds and out of the play. And then I don't know if the referee was getting into his face or trying to tell him to calm down. It's usually the refs don't try to get into the business of other players and try to make it their own thing, especially when it's just the player solo when he's already going off the field. So it's kind of weird that, I don't know if he had gotten a penalty off of that or if the penalty happened before, because he was upset that there was definitely an obvious offsides that on Jacksonville that they miss, and even when he's still rushing trying to finish on the play, Bosa, he gets held, and they still don't call that either. So I can understand a little bit his frustration, but to go off while you're on the field is not good, because then that's when the penalties obviously happen. You should have just done it on the sideline like a normal person. But either way, I guess we'll get over this. It's not like they're going to trade him either. I don't think he's requested a trade a couple days after, but they still feel like they're close, even with all the crap that happened. Obviously, you could even blame Justin Herbert as well, because he did have an okay game, but I don't know if that was just because towards in the second half where everything kind of shut down, if that was a product of him or Joe Lombardi, the offensive coordinator, who's also to blame. But, I mean, you're the main quarterback, you're the top guy, you can change the play audible to something else. They weren't even running the ball as much in the second half. They kept throwing, and there was incompletion, so the clock wasn't going down as much as it should have at the time either. So there's a lot of boneheaded stuff, and even Adam Schefter recently said right before I think I did this video on ESPN that the Chargers are looking to most likely keep Brandon Staley at least for another season, because they still believe in him. They know he's young, but they believe he will get better, but they definitely think that there might be some changing happening to the assistant coaches or offensive coordinators as well. I don't think you have to blame Ronaldo Hill, the defensive coordinator, just yet, but maybe after another year and it's not good, then yes. But definitely Joe Lombardi definitely has to go, because some of that play calling is not that good. And yeah, he got some easy scores because the defense definitely set them up in great positions, but there are a lot of questionable calls here and there, and not that great of play calling going down towards the home stretch when you already have the victory and you're just making some bonehead plays left and right. It just sucks. And obviously, I think the person who's more to blame for, even if they were to fire Staley, it's why are you keeping the general manager Telesco, who is the one that's hired? Who did he hire? Mike McCoy, Anthony Lynn, now Brandon Staley. He might have had another coach in there that he hired at some point, or I don't know what he did. But either way, he hasn't made a lot of the greatest draft picks, and I think with Staley being there the past 2 years, later in the draft, they have gotten better in getting guys that will help them out more. I know even before then, a lot of those guys are still not even on the roster. They left, and they haven't even been that good either on other teams that Telesco has picked. And yeah, I think he's a main big problem as well. But the Spanos family, or especially Dean Spanos, he just doesn't want to change or really do anything that's positive or good for the organization, it looks like. But I know there's a lot of rumors about Sean Payton, and I've talked about him here, that yes, he does have interest in the Chargers. That's one of his top destinations. But I still think you give Brandon Staley one more year. And if it's going crappy throughout the season, or once again we're let down towards the end of the season, then yes, I think after 3 years you kind of know to give up on somebody. And as long as Sean Payton hasn't decided to go wannabe coach in a bad place like Denver or Arizona, places like that, then I guess you get him. But even if you were to try to get him right this second, you'd have to give up draft picks to the New Orleans Saints, which I don't like. So maybe if you wait another year, I don't know how much longer his contract lasts, but it should be after this season coming up that you won't have to give up draft picks, I believe. But either way, I still think they should wait, see how it goes, see what happens, make sure all these dudes stay healthy, missing their top corner, missing their top left tackle, missing a lot of guys, especially at a lot of key positions. Yeah, he played Mike Williams the week before, got him hurt, but I don't think one player, especially a receiver, would have made that big of a difference. Draft better in this year's draft coming up in a couple of months, and hit free agency hard, which is coming up in about a month or so as well. Do some good there, because you don't have to pay Justin Herbert right this second either. So yes, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. I already gotten over this, but I'll have to do another deep dive into seeing what happened. But, I was listening on the radio the first half because I was taking a family member to the airport, and everything was going fine. They went up 27-0. But then once I came home and started watching on TV, then, I'll put this blame on myself. So next time I see something good like that and I'm not watching, then I won't watch. So yes, like I said, thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. Fight on.